And you're live.
Okay, we're live. Well, we forgot the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There's always something. Well, hello. This is a special Facebook Live for me and for the DrTomOBryanGlutenFree because I want to introduce you to my good friend, Dr. Eric Zielinski. And Dr. Zielinski, if you saw the announcement I wrote, if there's anyone in the world that you'd love to hang out with, just because he's a really good man, it's Dr. Eric. And I'm so happy to introduce everyone who doesn't already know of Dr. Zielinski to his world and his areas of expertise. And I got to know Dr. Zielinski because of his expertise on essential oils, which I really know very little about. And until I got married and my wife started using essential oils on me every night, and then I started sleeping like a baby, I just had no idea. All right, some oils. So what's this thing about oils? But now I know a little bit more. So Dr. Eric, first, welcome. Thanks very much for taking the time to be here. And it's great to see you. And I'd like to ask you, please tell our audience, if they're like me and they really have no experience, why are essential oils worth knowing about?
Oh boy, you're opening up Pandora's box, Dr. Tom. First of all, I absolutely have more respect and love for you than anyone in our space. And, folks, I just got to say, we know a lot of everyone, these DrSoandSo.coms. And I just got to say, I don't want to put people down to lift Dr. Tom up, but Tom's the real deal. Dr. Tom loves people. He's an expert in the field. And I'll never forget the first moment I met you, Doctor. I think I wrote this in one of our groups that we're part of. If the eyes are truly the window of the soul, I saw a man of integrity, of love, of truth, and you deserve every ounce of every bit of love and honor and respect that you get. And I am just thrilled to be your friend. You're a mentor, and I just got to say, just lots of love. Like every time we connect, Tom, I feel just a spiritual just enlightenment. Like right now, I just sense we're just connected in the spirit because we both have the same mission. We are literally bound by the burden to help people ease suffering. And that's what I'm about. And I'm like you. Before I met Sabrina, I just thought essential oils were smelly stuff. And I always make the little joke, I'm never going to go, play beach volleyball or basketball with my friends, guys smelling like ylang ylang. They'll take my guy card away,
Right. That's right. I share that.
So at the end of the day, long story short with me is I was a medical writer at the time. And one of my clients commissioned me to write a series of public health reports on essential oils. And it blew my mind. I was forced to evaluate them clinically. I was forced to evaluate them scientifically, epidemiologically, and all my biostats.
Say that 3 times real fast. Say that 3 times.
I know, epidemiologically. All the biostats knowledge came back to me, and I was floored, Dr. Tom, absolutely floored, not only at the sheer volumes of anecdotal case studies out there on the internet, but the clinical trials, the in vitro, the in vivo studies, the animal studies. Like, what in the world is this stuff? And the bottom line is this, folks, just remember this. Every chemical that is based into any sort of pharmaceutical intervention, it's not like chemists just invented it. They are mimicking plant-based compounds, which are the essential oils. So regardless of what it is, chemotherapy, if it's a painkiller, if it's some whatever drug, these chemists are evaluating plants and mimicking those chemicals. And I'm all about going back to nature. And I'll end with this, Doc, because you blew my mind when I first met you about adaptogenic herbs and your product and everything you've done. And I was like, whoa. And it started, what you were sharing with me started to make so much more sense about why essential oils work at a holistic, harmonious level. So anyway, there's so much we could talk about here.
Yes. Can you give us a few case studies of what happens with using essential oils?
Really, to honor you and your work, we can cover a little bit of autoimmune conditions, because there's one particularly that blew my mind of a woman that we helped with PAD, progesterone. I'm sorry, I'm coming over the I've been talking a lot. Our book is crushing it on Amazon and everyone wants to interview me. So I'm like, I think my wife's happy. I'm like, I can't talk anymore. So PAD, progesterone autoimmune dermatitis, is a very rare autoimmune condition, which essentially the body is just producing way too much progesterone. And a woman that I met, how it manifests is differently for everyone. And this poor woman I met after the very first class of essential oils I taught local in Atlanta, she came up to me. She was the last person. I had a class filled with people and they were all waiting in line to talk to me. It was just an honor. And this lady was just sheepish. I mean, just very feeble and weak. You could just sense she was just beat up and just abused by the system. And she waited for everyone to leave. And she came up to me and her hands were bound with bandages. And she says, Dr. Eric, is there anything you can do for me? And she goes, every month during my cycle, my hands is bust out and oozing sores. I can't change my baby's diapers. I can't even hold a pencil. I have so much pain and anxiety, low libido, leaky gut issues, candida overgrowth. I'm going to functional medicine doctors. They have me on $700, $800, $900 of supplements a month. Nothing's happening. My bank account is drained. I've gone to the medical system. No one can help me. And no one knew what it was. And I just did a little research and I found out it was PAD. And I'm like, you know, what I did was I got her on a fast. And what I did was I got her on an elimination diet, completely gluten-free, having some really good healthy bone broth. And I started using essential oils with her to manage the symptoms. And you mentioned sleep, other things, anything that she was dealing with pain, low libido, energy. She started using essential oils. I actually got her off of all supplements. I needed, in my opinion, I needed her body just to get a break for a moment of all everything that was happening. So she was on a fast. She was on bone broth, completely gluten-free, and literally within 3 weeks, she was fine. Wow. And it was powerful because, you know, Tom, I know you'll appreciate this. We need to stick with stuff when it works. And I didn't hear from her for a couple months. I mean, her life dramatically changed. I mean, her cycle came, her cycle went, her cycle came, her cycle went, and everything was fine. And she thought she was, quote, healed. So she started to, quote, cheat. And she
Humans are the only species. We find something that works and we stop doing it. After we find what works, we stop.
So guess what happened? What do you think she ate? What do you think she ate?
Oh, pizza.
Close. A sandwich. A regular old, God knows what wheat bread sandwich. And she broke out immediately. And she was so ashamed. She wasn't answering my phone calls because I was following up with her. She wasn't answering my Facebook messages, my emails. She came back a couple months later and said, Dr. Z, I was so ashamed. I felt bad. I should never have done it. I knew better. And she goes, I've learned my lesson, but I'm still suffering. And, you know, what we do, folks, is we get people off of triggers to bring healing to your body, not as a Band-Aid. And I found that essential oils didn't heal her. She had significant gut issues, but she needed to manage her symptoms and also anything we could do to help with the root cause. And we could talk a little about leaky gut. We could talk about other autoimmune conditions, chronic inflammation and stuff, which oils can help. But I love this story because oils are just one part of the puzzle. And I want to encourage people, you can't live, you know, the American fast food lifestyle and use essential oils and expect to get better. You got to live a gluten-free lifestyle, low inflammatory triggers, eat good food, have a good, healthy lifestyle, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial. I mean, people get blown when I say this, Doc, that, you know, you can't hate your job. You can't hate your spouse and expect to be healthy. Like you can't have bitterness and unforgiveness and stress and expect to have lavender and expect everything to be good. So what I try to do is to bring balance and homeostasis and peace to people's lives, and oils can help in a lot of ways.
Now, your new book is doing marvelously. And do you talk about these concepts in the book?
Oh, yeah. I have a whole section on autoimmunity. And here's something, too, about the ladies out there. And, you know, most of the people that follow, at least for me, we've done an analysis, 75% of my followers, and we have millions of people following us, are women. So if you're a guy listening, kudos to you. We need more men to step up, to be just take control of their health. But you women out there, y'all are complicated. It's unbelievable. I only wanted to write one chapter of my book on women's health, and I started digging in the research, and Doc, it blew my mind. Like I went to my editor And my publisher, I'm like, hey, what do you think about a whole section on women's health? And she's like, duh, yeah. So we have 6 chapters. We're talking about candida, PMS, menopause, postmenopause, everything from libido, birth, labor, delivery. Like literally a third of my book is devoted to women because there's so much research out there, and there's so many key essential oils that help with women, like clary sage, geranium, Vitex, ylang ylang. What's the other one? Lavender. They're fantastic traditional herbs and spices and remedies that people have used. Midwives have used since the beginning of time, and we're extracting the power from the oil. It's almost magical. And to see a woman just deal with cramps in such a way where she's not a victim anymore because she's applying some topical application changes their lives. And to see women like that woman I was helping with PAD and other autoimmune conditions, it's just so inspiring. It's just really so inspiring. So yeah, we cover all that stuff in my book.
That's really marvelous, really marvelous. And let's take the example of, you referenced a few herbs or a few oils that you use for women. One of them was Vitex. How does Vitex work to help?
Yeah, the thing about Vitex, and very similar to ylang ylang, these oils are known harmonizers. This blows our mind as researchers because they can actually balance conflicting physiological measures. So for example, ylang ylang specifically, just to point that out, can decrease blood pressure and raise pulse rate, which is counterintuitive because once pulse rate raises, your blood pressure should raise. What this tells me is it gives the body what the body needs for peace. And for Vitex especially, there's a direct connection. And I don't know why, we don't know the specific mechanism, but Vitex is fantastic for pre, during, and post-menopause women. It's just unbelievable what it does to the litany of symptoms. And so many women deal with hot flashes, libido issues, weight gain, weight loss, and all these different conflicting things. And when you incorporate Vitex into your life, like you said, they're adaptogenic herbs, and it causes your body just to respond. And again, I wish I knew more. And Doc, you can explain probably better than I how adaptogenic herbs work. But at least I know, clinically speaking, it's been proven to just create peace and homeostasis in the body.
If I remember correctly, Vitex helps to increase progesterone levels. And for most women, in your example, it was an excess for that rare case. Yeah. But for most women, progesterone levels are too low.
Yep.
A strong contributor is the environmental toxins we're exposed to, that they act on the estrogen sites in the body. So the body thinks it's got way too much estrogen, which suppresses the progesterone. But Vitex helps to bring balance to your hormones. And I've used that a little in my practice and found it to be really helpful. So, and the idea of oil. So if I've got an oil of Vitex or ylang ylang, am I rubbing that on my tummy or rubbing it on my wrists, and that's how it gets into the system and how it helps?
Great question. First, I can't stress enough safety. Folks, we need to remember, these are highly concentrated plant-based compounds. You're not going to walk into a lavender field and see a pool of lavender. I mean, really, this bottle, this is 30 pounds of lavender flowers. Just think about that for a moment. And
30 pounds of flowers. Wow.
Yeah. So there's a couple things. We got to think sustainability. Using these oils undiluted, neat, is quite frankly a waste. And we need to preserve these precious compounds for our children, our children's children, B, we're finding that as you dilute essential oils with a carrier oil, can be jojoba, almond oil, coconut oil, olive oil. What it does, it prevents evaporation. And just a quick chemistry lesson, that's what these are. These are volatile organic compounds. So when you're walking into a rose garden and you brush up against a rose and you smell the aroma, those are the chemicals that we know as essential oils. And so when you steam distill it, we extract them through the distillation process, and then we get them into this bottle. I mean, they're really not oils at all. They're just lipid soluble, fat loving, water hating compounds. And so they evaporate. So if you put a drop on your skin, if you smell it, which you will within seconds, that means it's evaporating into the air. So dilution prevents that from happening. So you save money. It keeps the oils on your skin, opens up the pores. And research studies, Doc, have actually shown when you apply it over your abdomen and the back of the neck, which are two of the best places because they're the most permeable parts of your body, that within 5 minutes, the chemical compounds can be detected in your bloodstream. And here's the kicker, and this is what I love about adaptogenic substances, is that within an hour and a half to 2 hours, they're completely metabolized. So the body literally knows what to do with it. Unlike drugs that, Doc, the body can't completely metabolize. So there's biochemical buildup in the fat cells, in the liver, and the kidneys. So I love this because that also means you got to use them every couple hours if you want the same effect. And so unlike DEET, for example, oils are great for bug repellent, but we don't have long lasting 12-hour lasting stuff. Like that's not natural with no surfactants, with no chemicals. You need to apply these. Bless you. You need to apply these every 2, 3, 4 hours if you want to have a solid effect if you're treating a condition. But yeah, rubbing it on your abdomen, back of the neck are great. Bottoms of your feet, it's the least permeable part of your body. But if you want a reflexology massage or something, that could be beneficial. But I really love topical application because you get the inhalation benefit as well. Because when you apply it on your tummy, you're smelling the vapors, which affects the limbic system, which actually triggers the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems to do a variety of different things. So topical application to me is the best bang for your buck.
Well, that's really great. My wife applies it to the back of my neck when
Exactly.
she's applying things, and I just go out. I just fall asleep very quickly. I won't say any more about that. There a lot of people don't know this until they test, but many people have lost their sense of smell.
Good question. Yeah.
Smell has been reduced.
Yeah.
What's the impact on the effectiveness of the essential oils if they've lost or have a reduced sense of smell?
So according to Robert Tisserand, who's he wrote the book on essential oil safety. He's one of the foremost experts in the field. We're still uncertain, quite frankly. But according to Tisserand, there lacks a physiological effect on the body, but there is a psychological effect that can happen. So again, we're thinking the olfactory system. So when you smell, the volatile organic compounds trigger the mitral cells in your nose that tell the olfactory bulb, hey, there's something going on, which triggers the amygdala and the limbic system. Hey, there's a mood, there's an emotion, there's a memory. Let's trigger some fat loss. Let's trigger PTSD. Let's trigger mood. Like there's a variety of things that could happen with oils, negative and positive. We need to remember, folks, especially for people that have been abused or experienced trauma with smell, a smell can trigger that. On the same side, if you've had an euphoric experience with a specific smell, that could bring you back to that euphoria. So you got to keep that in mind. So for people that have lost sense of smell, it's still a good idea to use essential oils, but you can't expect what you would if you had full sense of smell. That's where the topical application comes into play. And also internal, Doc, you could put oils in capsules, enteric-coated capsules, specifically if you're trying to treat the gut or other areas to get them into your bloodstream too.
Really good, really good. Back in the, I'm going to date myself now. Back in the 1970s, there was a medical doctor named Lyndon Smith who was a guru to runners. And I was a marathon runner, and he would talk about long, slow distance running, LSD running. And it became a movement, and a very smart movement. So people just slowed down and went more into the aerobic exercise world. Dr. Smith had this concept that he talked about vitamins and how important it is to take vitamins, especially when you're exercising, because you're driving your car really fast on the highway, you're burning more gas. So when you're exercising, you're going to use more fuel. So you need more nutrients. And he said that open the bottle and take a smell. And if you don't like the smell, don't take the vitamin. And if you do like the smell, take the vitamin. And if it's a neutral, take it, because there's probably a good result coming for you. But the sense of smell, the sense of I don't like that smell, is that a guiding principle in the use of oils?
What that's called is the organoleptic evaluation. How does the body experience? How does the body, through the six senses, taste, smell, touch, intuition, I'm telling you, your body will crave certain things. You know, I just do. At certain times, my body craves certain nutrients, craves certain foods, and I'm trusting that my body instinctually knows. And yeah, the same thing can happen with essential oils, especially for adverse reactions. So this is something most people don't think about. And I'm a big believer of this. Before you go buy $100 million of supplements, get a bottle, try it first, see how your body responds. I'm finding, Doc, so many people that force themselves to do something because Dr. So-and-so says to do it. And they're like, well, what if your body doesn't react well? So for essential oils, every single bottle, and it literally just takes a couple of minutes, folks, but every bottle you buy, even if it's a bottle of lemon you get from the same company over and over, it could be a different batch, it could be a different harvest season, it could be a different chemical makeup. All you do is you get the bottle, you open it up, and you take a couple whiffs. Literally just give your mind, give your body a moment to just experience the aroma. Hopefully you get no real negative reaction at all. Most people don't. But if you get a headache, agitation, nervousness, or whatever, like if your body says, then that's a good sign you might not want to use it at this moment. It doesn't mean it's a bad oil. It just means that your individual chemistry at that moment isn't jiving with this. And if you want to use a topical application, there's something called the skin patch test. So you can create, get a few drops of coconut oil, put one drop of an essential oil and put in the back of your hand. And just like how you would test a carpet cleaner in the corner before you clean your carpet and stain it, you want to kind of test the back of your hand, which is a thick part of your body. You shouldn't have any allergic reaction, and see. But if you do have an adverse reaction like bumps, if you get rash, if you get itching, that's a good sign that that oil isn't for you. Again, it doesn't mean it's an adulterated oil. And that's something that I think is really important, Doc, is that people assume because if an oil is pure, it should be good for them. No, in fact, the most pure oils are potentially the most dangerous because they're the most concentrated. And it all boils down to biochemical individuality. And what works for me, a 38-year-old white guy from Poland, ain't going to work for a 74-year-old African-American woman from Kenya. It's just we are unique.
Yeah, very good points, very good points. And it reinforces the premise that I've talked about so many times, body language never lies.
Nope.
So if you take a whiff of something and it's like, "Ooh, I don't like that," don't use it. You might you might check it out again in a few days or a week, check it out again. But if it smells bad, don't use it. Don't use it.
Yep.
So, this is a last minute scheduled event for us because I just heard about your program that you're doing and that for the next few days, there's this encore weekend of your program. So please tell us about this. Tell us about your program.
Oh, well, we've gotten so many people ask us very similar questions. The basics, the dilutions, the guides, the history. How do I use oils for this, for that? We've literally read thousands and thousands of comments and emails. And so my wife and I decided to create a master class, and it's a 10-part video master class that we're giving people free access to watch the videos. And we walk people from start to finish, from aromatherapy 101, how to properly inhale. Because you can see my little diffuser. You just don't put a couple drops in it and go willy-nilly. There's strategy behind it. There are things like aromatherapy inhalers, which are on the go, absolute power. There's spritzers and salves and how to ingest oils. We cover all of that. And I want to empower people with the fundamentals of how to make your own body care because Doc, more than anyone, environmental toxins are one of the key triggers for autoimmunity, and we need to limit that so we can make our own or make your own cleaning products, how to cook with oils, all that stuff. So I wanted to bless your tribe specifically because we're inviting them. Right now, people are on lesson 4 of 10. But what we're doing tomorrow is we're giving everyone from 9 o'clock tomorrow, Saturday, through 9 o'clock on Sunday. We're opening up all the lessons 1 through 5 so everyone can get caught up. And folks, here's the cool thing. These are short. They're not long. They're 15, 20 minutes a pop. We keep them short, sweet, very succinct, and people can digest this. We're not here to overload you on information. Trust me, you're going to leave this experience much more empowered and confident because you're going to know what to do. And then we're going to go through the entire series and to give you a little tip, we're going to have a whole encore weekend again next week so people can just kind of all you can sniff buffet so they can enjoy everything. All you can sniff buffet next week. Because we have 170,000 people that have signed up for this, and we're committed to having over 200,000 because we want to empower people, Doc, to use them the right way, because oils can be a game changer.
Marvelous, marvelous. You know, I talk so often, there is no one thing that's going to fix your problem. Whatever health problem you're suffering from, it's an accumulation of a number of different insults that have accrued over time. And there's no one pharmaceutical, there's no one vitamin, there's no one oil, there's no one diet that's going to fix it all. Some are going to be more helpful than others, but the premise is base hits win the ball game. So when you learn about essential oils and you learn how to check them out to see which ones are right for you and your family, and you include those as a small piece, it takes you 15 seconds once a day to use the oil, or 3-4 times a day to use the oil that's right for you. That's just a base hit that's going to move you much more forward, because you're activating your brain. You're turning your brain on by the scent, and you're activating a healing mechanism. It's one more base hit that's going to help. So I'd like to encourage everyone to check this out this weekend. I assume there's going to be a link here that we're going to post. I forgot to ask my staff about that, but I assume there is, so you'll have it. And I recommend that everyone take the time this weekend to catch up on those first 4 episodes so that you can then go with the flow for the rest of the series. Well, Dr. Zielinski, thank you so much. Thanks so much for taking the time. I know it's dinner time for you right now, and please thank your wife for freeing you up and allowing you to be here. And for everyone out there, I pray that you give this a shot. Just check it out. It's all free, and I think you'll find that it's one more piece of the puzzle that's going to help you move forward and achieve your health goals. So with that, I'd say, Dr. Zielinski, thanks so very much for being here tonight.
Doc, thank you so much too. It's my honor and privilege. Much love and appreciation for all your ministry and all your work.
Thank you, and same to you.